So, welcome to another episode of You. So, you think you got problems? I'm Jeff Keller.
I'm Mike Muratori.
I'm Ron Bush.
And we have a very, very exciting show today. We have with us today James Schueller. Ron, you want to tell us about James?
All right, listen, James is a longtime friend of mine. All right. First of all, he's a great personal trainer. All right. He's a musician, band, I believe. I'm going to let him do the finishing update. Okay. He's one of the friends that I call actually straight. Okay. You know, for being here in Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? He's good looking guy in Hollywood. He's actually straight. You know what I'm saying? So ladies, that's the gay dude fucking, gold standard right there. You know what I mean? And we were talking about as a white straight male, we were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and how he was having issues with some of the girls that he's dating where he knows because they were saying what I believe was counterintuitive for what he should be doing. So I said, you know what, let's bring this on the show and tell every white straight male in America, you know what I'm saying, a different way to look at the Black Lives Matter movement. And who else could better do that besides my brother, who's filming direct from the demons of hell, Mike Muratori, and brother Jeff Keller. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me introduce you our guest. And I want to hear more about his music too. Did y'all hear that? Is this like?
I heard that
Paul
being,
like turning into?
Totally, yeah.
Yes, that's like Paul turning into a little fairy and fluttering up to a producer with ladies and gentlemen, James Schueller. How you doing, brother?
Hold on, let me fix this. Hold on.
One second. Let's get rid of that beeping. Somebody has their text notifications on.
No, it's on my computer. I can't turn it off.
Well, let me tell you myself. Like, I grew up in Iowa. I'm a Midwest person. Grew up on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived out in LA since 2008. So I've been out here a long time. And a lot of this shit doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It's like the difference between like a rural person and an urban person, hugely different. The difference between I was dating a girl who told me, "Oh, don't go to that march because that would just like we want to let the black people have their voice be heard," and it didn't make sense to me. And so I reached out to Ron, I reached out to another friend of mine, like, I hate to say token black people, but like I have like 3 or 4 black friends that are like involved, and I'm like, let's see what's really going on. And it was like, dude, like we all need to support this cause because it's not about black versus white, which is what one of my Iowa friends said, but it's about equality. It's like let's make the thing equal. How about that? How can you deny that? And that's where I ran into really problems. Like people in my background from 20 years ago didn't know how to respond to that. And that was a huge thing, just like dealing with the urban. I think it's more of an urban versus rural thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a mindset. I mean, first of all, a lot of people think that Black Lives Matter or black people that support it are anti-white. No, we're anti-racist. That's the difference. It's not like we're anti-white policemen. No, we're anti-police that shoot black people. I don't care if you're black, brown, yellow, green. If you're an officer and you shoot black people, we're against you. And a lot of people don't understand that. And Black Lives Matter is really inclusive. What we're saying is, everybody's lives don't matter. I know that all lives matter, but right now, the black lives are getting shot at a higher rate than anybody else. So we're saying Black Lives Matter. It's like, it's almost like if you go to a wedding and the lady's getting married and somebody in the audience goes, "Hey, I want to get married too." It's like, no. Right now, she's getting married. We don't care when you get married. It's about her. And that's what I was saying about black people. People are talking about
I agree, Jeff. I agree, but I don't know if that hits home though. It doesn't hit home. because these
I
people
agree.
don't know any black people. I grew up.
Right.
I had one black girl in my high school. One, single, and
Well, James, you hit it right on the head, though. A lot of them have no point of reference because they have no black friends.
yes,
So they're just creating shit in their head to justify not so much their racism, because some of them actually mean really well. They mean well with what they're saying. It's just it's misplaced because they don't have any point of reference.
right.
It would be like me telling a woman what it's like to be a woman. How the fuck would I know what it is to be a woman? And people do that shit in America all the fucking time, where they'll give people advice, and it's so fucking retarded on so many levels. It's like, it doesn't make any sense.
Kind of like this show, James. We give advice. It's so retarded, so many levels, like this show.
You see,
Right,
on
I know,
so many
I know,
levels.
I know. I can't understand what you went through. I can't understand what Ron went through. I could probably understand what Mike went through, but I can't. I just can't. I can't. It's silly because like I have friends in Iowa, the middle of the country, that are black. There are a few of them. There's at least 4, I think. There's 4 black people.
There's not that many. That's for sure. I've been there.
Yeah, maybe 5. Well, 4 people I know, 5. So I'm gonna give 5. But and they have better insight than I do. But what I've read, like in the papers and things like that, it's been very bad. It's just because my I'll tell you this, guys, and this is a huge thing for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, when Mexican people started coming to our country to take our jobs, they were taking they were working at packing plants, which are slaughterhouses, and and people were like, "Oh, you're taking our jobs." Nobody white wanted to work in a slaughterhouse. It was fine. But now when I go back home, my brother, who's actually racist, my dad, who's not racist, they talk about Mexican workers like, oh yeah, we love Juan. Like Juan's amazing. He's great. We bring him birthday gifts and XYZ because they're great people. And it really comes down to more about what you're exposed to rather than what you believe in. And so, and these people, my brother, he loves Mexicans. He's still racist. He still doesn't like black people because they're from Chicago. He doesn't like Jewish people because they're the mafia from Chicago. And that's what we get caught in. It's like this thing about non-exposure, and I think that's the huge key. And obviously, nobody that was in that realm would be watching this video. And I'm trying to find a way to make how do we branch out to figure out how we share that with these other people.
Because, I'm going to stop you there. First of all, thank you very much for sharing that. And I unfortunately had dropped out, so I missed about a good minute of what you were saying.
Where did you go? Were you sucking some dick? What were you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I went and sucked some dick real quick, and then I came back online. But I wanted to give this to Jeff because you told me you have had this conversation before, and Jeff, I would love to first of all get your perspective, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't have to be around people to
I
care
think Jeff
about
is frozen.
them. No, I don't have to be around people to care about them. Like I don't have to be around Latinos to care that they're getting locked up in cages and separated from their families. You see what I'm saying? It's just a humanity.
I do.
It's just humanity. It's just caring about people, no matter what color they are. So I kind of understand where you're coming from, but I don't totally buy it because it's about humanity.
I think these are 2 different subjects, but I agree with you completely. I totally do. Please go on.
Oh, that's my point. I mean, we can sit here, and we can say, okay, people watch Fox News or people had a bad experience. I understand that. But when it comes down to black people getting killed or Latinos getting locked up in cages, it's just having compassion for other people, whether they're brown, white, or black, brown, white, or yellow. So it's about caring about people.
Jeff, but we're speaking the same language, but we're also like, we have to be like honest about everything because people are actually okay with brown people being locked in cages. That's a shitty situation we're in.
I think the way to frame this actually is, how do people like James, who's, we'll say the straight white male, how do you, with this Midwestern lineage, these people in your family, and I'll put it this way, with my family being Southern Baptist and Jamaican, most of them were homophobic. Most of them had racist views for whatever reason. And so it was an educational process to be able to get them to, be accepting and to be where they are today, kind of a thing, So I guess the same thing is, for James, how do guys like that, communicate with, people in his, past, his family, his communities, to help them see things in a different way, instead of trying to talk past them or shut them down. He has a unique opportunity, and people like him have a unique opportunity to actually communicate and affect change in a way that me or you, Jeff, would not. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what that's where I think the discussion should kind of roll around about, because there's a lot of good ideas and perspectives can come out of that. Hopefully, that would be helpful.
Right. And I think it's kind of starts with what I talked about. He should talk about that with them. Where's your humanity? How do you not care about people? What makes them less than you? They're walking 500 miles from another country where they have gangs and you're being suppressed by their government, just to have a little freedom, just to be able to have a meat packing job. We wouldn't do that, you
Right.
know. So where's your humanity? That's where you go with that. Where's your humanity
I
as a
totally
human
agree.
being?
I agree. You're right. No,
And see, the thing is, James, in agreement to you, because I grew up in a town, I'm not really a minority. I don't even consider myself a minority, but there was like 4 people that were different. Everybody else was white.
right.
And the thing about when you move to LA or New York, people that are, from other countries, they take jobs that nobody wants anyway. That's why I never understood all the hatred. It's like, without Mexican people, half these people wouldn't be able to take care of their kids, or half their houses, or clean their houses. Just bullshit. It's like, okay, you want to get rid of all these people, but who's going to do these jobs? White people aren't going to.
I completely agree.
They're not going to farm.
Yeah,
it's all
like nobody takes those jobs.
Right, and that's what I a lot of times with those, especially with the ones who wrap themselves in the Republican moniker, just say, well, I mean, the reality of it is that this population that you're talking about is the backbone of our agricultural system, and across the country, these are the people that are picking our crops and sorting them, and I mean, it's
well,
tons of food,
Well, you have to understand that in the Midwest, I'm the person that was picking crops and sorting them and everything else. So there's a bit of a dichotomy there. Like, what had happened with slavery was different than in the northern Midwest. Because I've walked through fields of corn, just like tearing shit down that was diseased, to make sure that the crop would be full, that they can make the most money. And so I think right now, given that we're going into an election season, that's the thing. Like, these white people that have no exposure to black people. None.
Zero.
None. Exactly. Yeah. Like, the most exposure I have is like Ron. Like, Ron, you're like my fucking, like, oh, I have a black friend. Yeah, Ron, and a few other black friends, but it's like there's no, back in the Midwest, there's nothing going on. So you have to like be aware of that. Like, at least pragmatically, like, we need to win that vote. We can't let that go. We can't we cannot go to Wisconsin. We can't go not to Milwaukee or Michigan or something like that. Like, we have to figure that out.
Jeff, I think we move you around the country as the ambassador to black people, and you just move into these places like Wisconsin You know what I'm saying? You just start showing up, be like, let me tell you what you're doing wrong.
You're calling Jeff the ambassador?
Yes, Jeff,
Let,
the
let me give you
black
some books
ambassador.
to read. Let me give you some books to read.
The black ambassador.
Read the new Jim Crow. Read White Rage.
Well, I've read the first
Mike,
one. Didn't read the second.
Mike, what are your thoughts? What are your thought
White
about? What are
fragility.
your thoughts about James's problem with woke white women? And I want to give a full disclaimer here. I personally love women and support in every way, shape, or form, and we do not condone the comments
That are getting ready to come out of Murtori's mouth.
Hey Jeff, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna challenge you. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in defense of James, woke white women, I've dealt with them my whole life. They're full of shit, number one, because most of them don't have any black friends, so they can all go fuck themselves. And
Right. Yeah, I know. I
they're
know.
all
Like
full
they
of
have no
shit.
background degree. Yeah, but I do. I do. I have a
Yeah.
few. I have two black friends, so I'm good.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, like, I love what
That
my
was a joke.
favorite is
Yeah.
to hang out with Jeff and Ron, especially Jeff. When white women give him advice, that is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. To watch, yeah, well, Jeff, I think you're a little harsh
I
on
wish
white people.
I
and
wish
you
you'd
should,
recorded that shit because
yeah,
that's
and
amazing.
you have to
That
see it.
sounds
And
amazing.
you should not do that, or they'll come up to me after a show, or Ron, especially me. Well, I
Well,
don't like
the
what
other guy did this, but yeah.
Right. Well, it's like I don't like what you said. Well, I really don't give up what you think. It's my opinion. It's America. I'll say what the fuck I want because at least your shit. My shit's based in fact. Your shit's based in fucking cuckoo reality.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. What do you do? What do you even do with that? I don't even know.
Yeah. So it's like
Insane.
they're out of their fucking minds. What they should do is they should. I tell my white friends that talk shit about black and Latin people. They should take their jobs or whatever they do for a day and go through what they go through, and maybe
Yeah.
on some level they would have some idea of what they go through. You know what I mean? Like I love when people put down homeless people. It's like, have you ever been fucking homeless? No. So why don't you sleep on the street for one day, and then maybe you'll have compassion towards homeless people. You know what I'm saying? Go walk. You're a white woman. Go walk around in Compton or Watts for a day. Just walk around. Just fucking walk around like you're gonna have a picnic, and just see what happens. And then maybe you'll understand that. But yeah, it's all bullshit. And what it is the first time in history where white people, not you, James, you're awesome, but when we take over the world, we're keeping you, where white people are actually losing their rights, which I find fantastic, including my own mother, which is great to watch the fear in my mother and my brother's faces because they're racist hillbillies. So it's fantastic to watch this shit. So yeah, things are changing. I think it's going to take a while longer, but what's happening is people are becoming awake due to that there's really not so much of black, white, Latin separation. Now it's basically poor and rich, and it really doesn't matter what color skin you are because eventually it's just going to be the haves and the have-nots, and that's where everything's going to start to even out. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Not in Trump's America.
Yeah, for me, James, I tell a lot of Indians, as you guys know, I'm black. I'm the white woman spirit animal. I tell a lot of my white homegirls you listen. It's impossible. Like just as it's impossible for me to know what it's like to be a woman. Unless you're a person of color, it's impossible for you to know what that's like.
Right. Yes.
And everybody in that experience, because you don't know what they've been through. What's the statistic? What's the statistic, Jeff? How many black males in jail out of 10?
I don't know, Tim, but I know it's almost like minorities. It's like 87%.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah, but whatever that number is, how many black males get thrown in jail every year?
Well, I went to jail. Just FYI, I'm gonna admit this on a podcast. I went to jail for a DUI, and there was nobody white in my jail cell, or even like my holding cell. It was all either dark skinned people or Asian skinned people. It didn't make sense. Like I'm like, really? But at the time, I was in the system, so like I needed to jump through these hoops to get out of it. I got a DUI. Again, I don't like to admit that, but it was terrible. It was terrible. Like they actually separated me by race, and I'm like, dude, yeah. I was talking to this Asian guy, and they had to make him go into the other cell. There was white, black, and other.
Well, they didn't want you to get killed. I've had 3.
No, I understand. No, you're right. You're right, Mike. But still, but I was like, dude, like, because when I went in the white cell, and the dude says, "Look at that gook. He needs to go back into his fucking cell." It was not. It was just something that like, oh wow, I see how it is. Like that gook, my friend, who I had talked to for the last 20 minutes. That gook needs to go to this gook cell. And yeah. And
my favorite stat is there's more black males in prison that were enslaved during slavery. That's one of my favorite stats.
Well, yeah. And so for people out there who, any day that, at least for me, when I can turn on the news and see, this ridiculousness that continues to happen, sometimes you just feel fed up and disgusted. And that's how the country feels right now, I think, which is a very good thing. But that feeling of disgust has been going on for Black people forever, And so, just understand that you don't know what that feels like. And so you don't know how to advise people how to mitigate or change that. Now, we can advise our friends or family to seek professional help. We can counsel our friends and family on being able to have positive mindset, towards life, and to be able to seek self-help, whatever that may look like, whether it be yoga, meditation, whatever. But the reality of it is that all we can do is kind of be the type of person that other people would look up to, or at least look to as a stable individual who represents the type of integrity that people would want to respect.
Right. The bad part though is this: when you have somebody like Donald Trump, just saying that black people are going to come to your suburbs and get you and kill you, and they're destroying your cities and you have people that listen and believe that, and they get guns, and they like that kid that came down there. His mom drove him down, and he shot those 2 people. And what's Donald Trump say? He says, "Well, the kid was probably protecting himself." So when you're flaming, when you got those flames going like that, what you're telling other people is, "Well, go ahead and do the same thing." That's what we're fighting against. People that are on that border, just on the line, and he says that, and they're like, "Yeah, he's right. We don't want them to come get us, so we got to strike first." And like you said earlier, Ron, or Mike said earlier, they feel like they're losing their power, and those are the people that Trump is speaking to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know James has gone through this because I grew up in the country too, and there's a real fear when you grow up in the country and you haven't been exposed to Black people, gay people, brown people, any type of person that's different. There's a real fear with that, and unless people have friends or family members that are part of those demographics, they can't even relate.
Right.
A lot of the shit.
No, you're right. You're totally right, Jeff.
Yeah, a lot of the shit that comes out of their mouth is just fucking nonsense. My own mother says shit that is so fucking ridiculous. Where I look at her and I'm like, I can't even believe I'm related to you because it doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. And where I grew up, and I know he goes through that too. With the shit that comes out of their mouths, I mean, it's just fucking ignorant. My brother. Okay, we have 4 gay cousins in my family. My brother and my cousin said the shit. No bullshit. They said they were afraid to catch homosexuality. I said, motherfucker, you can't catch homosexuality like a cold. What fucking planet are you on? Who says shit like that? I'm just gonna walk outside right now with you, Rod. I'm gonna walk down the street. I'm gonna catch homosexuality. What's wrong with people?
Yeah, I remember I was back in Atlanta. I'm trying to remember where it was, and we were arguing with this brother. He was all religious, and I was like, "Motherfucking gay in that choice." He goes, "Yes, it is."
Like you're just gonna pick that. Yeah, they're out of their fucking minds.
No, nigga.
Ron, are you gonna let me speak, Ron? I have my
Let
computer
James
and
speak.
my phone. So yeah.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah.
Religion's bullshit. Like, cause they make shit up. They're like, well, what did we believe 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago? Sure, great. I don't care if you're gay or straight. It's like, who cares? Why the fuck
Exactly.
would you care?
Who gives a shit?
Why the fuck would you care?
Right. That's
You
the
don't
point.
do it. You don't go about your business and live life. Like, who cares?
No.
And that's the thing. Like, that's where this thing, I think, dies out. I hope. Because, like, why do you, I'm actually going to try to discuss myself here. Like, why do you care? Like, why do you care? Like, if somebody fucks you, good, great. Like, good for you. Like, I don't care, Ron. I don't care. At the same time, I can't actually pull my phone because
James, have you been drinking?
I probably have been drinking. I set my phone like I think the lights.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have me and Jeff Keller, Michael Martor have the unique and distinct opportunity to have our first drunk guest on our show.
I love it.
Right, your first drunk guest.
And so now our goal is to make you. We want to get you so emotional that you cry. Okay, we want real tears.
I don't think you will, actually. I don't think you will.
Talking about race will make you drink.
Right, absolutely,
well,
absolutely.
You can't make that dish.
And I just want to, ladies and gentlemen, and James, I just really have to give this shout out right now. I'm sorry. We have to take 2 seconds and just give a shout out to Mike Mortor, who has been just the nicest guy today that you have ever.
I like James. I'm fascinated with him. Some of the other guests I fucking hate. I love James.
He's so pleasant. You know what I mean?
He's great.
And
he's amazing.
He has another man's dick growing on the inside of his cheek, and he's been angry about that for weeks. And
Ron, if I had a dick growing inside my mouth, I'd have you pluck it the fuck out.
No, like, Mike, I'm down with your discussions, like not with.
So James, let's get back to James here. If we get too far off.
Yeah.
So when the white girls say you're not supposed to be marching or fighting with Black Lives Matter, what do you say?
I say, like, where do you come from? Like, where do you come from?
Yeah, he's right. Where do you come from?
And actually, there's nowhere they can come from. Like, they can't. Like, if I'm walking in the background of a pro-choice movement, like, they don't know me. Again, I can't, like, be in the front of their position because, like, I think I told Ron, like, I got a DUI. So, like, I'm like, I have to be in the background, but I can push it forward type of thing. So, and I'm fine with that. Like, I love it. We need to do that. Like, this is not a thing that we can passively.
Do you consider yourself a ladies' man?
Ladies?
Are you good with the ladies? Do you get yourself a fair amount of pussy? I mean, you don't want to be crass when you're like that, but you know what I'm saying?
What's that got to do with?
No. This is not how. No, dude. Like, this is like a thing. It's a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to go past that and be.
The reason why I was asking is because you have all these studies out there where a lot of women go on dates just for the food. You have a culture here in Hollywood that I think is difficult to navigate as a single person. And so what I was getting at with the question was, from both sides of this, what do you think LA, how do you think LA could be a better place socially so everyone could better listen to who we are as people?
What the fuck are you talking about?
I have no idea.
No, I was saying what I was okay. So maybe I
I
spoke too
think
much.
Ron.
What,
I think
what
Ron's
else?
question is valid. But I don't think it's. I don't think it's pure. Like we need to throw everything we have at this monster because we have the something that's going on right now. Like we need to throw it right now. We need to throw everything we have at the monster. Ron, you're dead. You're a dumbass.
I'm sorry. Jeff.
You don't know my name. Good Lord.
I'm talking to Jeff over here.
Jeff, what do you have to say about this, Jeff?
Jeff, yeah, I wonder what Jeff is going to say about this.
I think that James.
Oh my God! Do you even know what like your face is pointing on right now?
That my what?
T'Challa?
Oh yeah. We gotta give a shout out.
That's your thing. That's your thing.
Yeah, that's mine.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think James got a great heart. I think James coming on here is awesome. But I do think that you should just when people, and this is just me. If someone would say to me, if I was white, and said, "Well, why are you supporting Black Lives Matter?" I would say, "Why aren't you supporting Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, good.
Why aren't you?" And that's what I would tell them.
Perfect. Yeah.
Dang, ain't never been this quiet on the show, and I don't know how long. What's going on?
That was very powerful. You know what I mean? You kind of dropped the mic on that. You just wanted to give it a little air, let people kind of. I think James just passed out.
I think James is crying right there. I think that got him.
James, I think he's been drinking a lot.
I think he's been hanging out with Jack Daniels. That's what he's been hanging out with.
Yeah, he's been putting it back. I think he's been putting it back since we were watching. Since we've been on here. I wonder if we're gonna get him back.
I don't know what was he drinking. Captain Morgan? What was that?
Look like Jack Daniels. It was either Captain Morgan or Jack Daniels. Yeah.
They wanted.
Yeah, maybe Captain Morgan actually.
That's
Mike, I can't even believe this is Mike. This is the most well-behaved I've ever seen you in my life.
I have nothing to say. I'm taking it all in. But now that he's gone, I don't know where he went. He disappeared.
I don't think we're going to get him back. I think he's too drunk to be able to log back in. Hey, Paul, can you make sure that he's not like waiting, trying to get back in? Because it happened to me.
I think he fell out of his chair. That's what happened.
I think he passed out.
He was talking while drunk. Talking while drunk, you know. He get a DUI for that.
He got a DUI in his house right there.
Yeah. But now we see where I got the DUI, right?
He got arrested in his house.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Dude, this is going to be a great episode. We've never had somebody drunk, pass out, and disappear in the fucking show. That's fantastic.
We had him so emotional. We got him so emotional.
Yeah,
and he passed out.
Yeah, no. But you know, he brings up. It was interesting. He just brought up some really good points, and that's what I really wanted to talk about. You know, it's like he brings up some really good points about, you know, where we are now with is in the straight community. You guys are straight. You know, it's like the way that men and women communicate. Is it poisoned? Is it what's going on over there?
What do you think? I mean, it's Jeff and I are older, but like I see it with younger people, like Rob's age, like in their like mid-20s. It's just a different animal now. Like they don't. I mean, for me to say this is bizarre, but a lot of them, men and women, they have no morals. There's no moral compass. They just do whatever the fuck they want at other people's, you know, expense. They don't give a shit about other people. Like, you know, I've heard stories where, you know, people go out to pick somebody up on a date and they don't answer the door. Like stupid shit like that. They go to call them, they're ghosted. women are going to hear this. They're going to get pissed off. Women wonder why they get treated badly now. It's because don't act like an animal, and you won't be treated poorly. You know what I'm saying? If you act like a lady, you're not going to be treated like an animal. But if you act like an animal, then maybe you deserve to be treated like one. You know what I mean? Where I grew up, because I'm older, I never had any problems with women. I never had to throw a woman out of a car. I never had to pull a Mike Muratori and throw a woman down a flight of steps. I never had to hit a woman. I never had to throw women out anywhere. I never had to do any of this shit. In LA,
ladies and gentlemen, I just want to.
You shut the fuck up, Ron. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Just
there's a point to this.
Disclaimer.
Shut the fuck up, Ron. I don't base LA on the female race. I've been all over the world, and I don't base women on New York either, or Connecticut, where I grew up. There's a whole world out there where women don't act fucking psychotic, where you have to do stupid shit. So my advice to both sides, men and women, if you treat each other better, and women, this is for women, if you just because a guy is nice does not make him a pussy. That's all I'm saying. I can be nice, but I could also be not really fucking nice, as Ron and Jeff have seen. You probably did it to yourself. So that's all I'm saying. Now, what are you going to say now, Gay Ron?
First of all, I was going to say that the podcast, So You Think You Got Problems, do not in any way, shape, or form condone nor adhere to or believe the perspectives of Mr. Mike Mortor.
It's all fiction, people. Ron's right. It's not real, so don't fucking take it that way. It's not fucking real. I'm not even real. I'm a fucking gnome. I'm a gnome in a dungeon right now. This is not real. This is my dungeon in the background. None of this shit's real. It's entertainment, people. Don't take this shit seriously. You understand what I'm fucking telling you? What are you going to say, Jeff?
I think that the millennials, this culture, these young kids, they're very politically correct and they're very sensitive. And when I was marching and when Ron and I were out there, there's a lot of young kids out there. Yeah. They care about causes. They care about what's happening to people. They're very sensitive towards that. Now, sexually, it's a whole different thing for them. But I'm talking about conscious wise, and they're very much. I mean, look at Twitter. That every time they find somebody doing an unjust thing, they want to get rid of them. That counterculture. You know what I'm saying? They're very sensitive, man. It's my son. My son's very sensitive.
Your son is very sensitive.
Matter of fact, my son is so sensitive. Sometimes when he speaks, I wonder if that DNA test was real. Like, was that real? Was that real? Did they tell the truth? I don't. Was that a false positive? Whatever, it's positive, false, whatever, false positive. Is that what it was? But that's what I'm saying. This culture is really sensitive, and this counterculture, man. They, even with this show, they may hear something they don't like, and next thing they'll say, we'll be streaming on Twitter. Mike Muratori said boo boo, so never watch that show again.
Yeah. We lose all 15, 20 people.
Yeah. Wait, that many? We got that many listeners? Damn. Hey, Ron, you're reaching that high bar, man. 15, 20. That's a high bar right there.
Yeah, but no, I think I mean, here's the thing. I really do like how that culture is helping drive this hopefully drive this new purge of racism that Trump has allowed that has exemplified, because he's not like some new thing. Him and his ilk, they have been there, but it looks like America has awakened to what that is, and now we can begin the purge process. And I just think that if I had a hope, I think if I had a hope, it would be that people get back to understanding that nobody's perfect. We're always going to say something inappropriate. People are always going to say something that's hurtful. You're always going to hear that. People have bad days. People haven't evolved. People require forgiveness, education, compassion. They've had, whatever it is that's driving people to say hurtful things. People do that. I have, and everybody in my family has. So if we could just also start practicing forgiveness and recognize that when someone says something bad to you, how you take that is what's most important.
Right. And do we learn from our mistakes?
Right.
And then how can we heal that hurt that we've caused to that person
Right.
to bring them back to
Absolutely.
the community? Yeah. And
Absolutely.
that's where we're at now. And
Absolutely.
that's, and we're fighting major battle with Trump because we'll know what the racial divide is in this country after this next election.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Mike? Who do you think? And then Jeff, I'll ask you the same question. What do you think the chances of Trump winning are?
See, what's creepy is this. I was talking about this to a friend the other day. We live in a very liberal state, right?
Yeah.
But in between the country, from like New York
Right.
to California,
Right.
there's a
That's
lot
right.
of red states, and he
That's
still
right.
has a shot.
Right.
Because the problem is, I feel like the Democrats mean well, but they have to be a lot more convincing in what they're trying to do. Because I'm neither. I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, because both sides to me right now are bad. Either side. I think the problem with Trump, though, if he wins again, we'll have capitalism, but we'll have complete fucking anarchy in the country. Where
Right.
people aren't going to have money. It's going to be just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So I would probably vote Democrat now, because between my two choices, at least they're trying to push things back to a balance. The problem is now we're in a fucking state of fucking anarchy. And, it's got to change. Do I think he can win? I do think he can win. I still think he has a shot. As crazy as that sounds, I still think he can win this thing.
Jeff?
Yeah, I think it's a sad day when us as Americans got to vote for one of two old white 70-year-olds and vote for the one that's least racist. That's 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 where they got us, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I, but I mean, Trump is. I mean, he's just a whole nother level. He just doesn't have any respect for the laws. Period.
It's
I
outrageous.
mean,
Yeah.
his daughter owns, the rights to the voting machines. That's why we should not, the patents to the voting machines. So that's why if you can't send your ballot in, don't use a voting machine. Um, remember when Bush two won Florida. How did he win Florida? Well, they took a lot of black people off the voting registers. How did they do that? Well, if say Ron Bush had a felony, he couldn't vote. So what they did was they did a general search on a Ron Bush instead of a specific. So they took off all the Ron Bushes, all the Mike Washingtons, all the Jeff Kellers. And so they took off so many black people off that they never got a chance to vote. And that's why he won Florida. So we have to be careful. And the Democrats really have to be on their P's and Q's on this voting thing and make sure that people get to the polls and make sure that their votes are counted. And that's what I like LeBron is doing. I like what the NBA owners are doing by opening up their arenas to be able to vote. I like what Michael Jordan and LeBron are doing by going into Florida and some of these other states and paying these felons fines so they can vote. So I think there's a good groundswell coming up that it's not government that's really doing it, it's the people. And I think if we continue doing that, we got a great chance of overriding what Trump is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I would give it 50-50. And he's in such a bad position because he's running on a record now. He should have lost last time. He won states by less than 70,000 votes and shit. And so he should have lost last time. We have to keep that in mind. And like what Jeff was saying, I think that the racism has really fired up a lot of people that I don't think you would have seen before, and I think that's nationwide. I think similar to how white people in America were seeing how these black children were being treated just trying to go to school, and how these images really affected how the national conscious viewed these types of issues. I think, seeing George Floyd and then Breonna Taylor and then and it's like now they're getting it. They're like, holy shit. This guy's just 7 times in his back. I think people now, I think they get it in a way that they could not, that they didn't before. And the more that they see, and Trump is so clumsy with the racism. So they know, even they know what he's saying. And so I believe, I'll say this: as long as everybody turns out the way that I think it feels like everyone's going to turn out, because again, African Americans didn't turn out a lot. There's a lot of holes in the Obama coalition, so we'll call it. But as long as if people turn out the way I think people are going to turn out, and if that 19 to 25-year-old range, if you see even a 1% increase on that, because of gun violence and because of racism, I think he's done. If 1% more of that sub 25% group go out and vote in every state, the Taylor Swift crowd, that Cardi B crowd, and that's where the wild card is this election. I would never give that age group any consideration in any other election, but we have a different situation because of where we're at. Like Jeff was saying, these people are sensitive, and
I agree with you. I think they need to vote, because if they do, I think it's going to change the face of the world. Because it can't keep going the way it's going. It's becoming too extreme in one direction, which is just going to destroy everything. So yeah, I don't see. My whole thing is, I don't even get how people support his fucking ass. Like, what don't you fucking see? We're locked in a fucking house now. We went from we're locked in a fucking house. Nobody has any I'm a gnome. I'm used to living in a fucking dungeon. You motherfuckers can't live in a dungeon. You need to be outside with the sunlight and the sunshine and the sunflowers. I'm used to living in the fucking dark. I'm an immortal fucking creature. I don't have these fucking problems like humans do. Like, you fuckers are humans. I'm your fucking immortal freaky friend. But listen, vote for you. Just do the right fucking thing. I've had it with people. That's why I live in a dungeon with my fucking other gnomes. But I do fuck human pussy. Remember that, people. Gnomes do not fuck each other. In order to procreate, we have to fuck other humans to create more gnomes. Remember that shit. So anybody's into gnome dick, hit me up at serialkiller.com. That's all I'm saying. Hit me up on Instagram at serialkillercomedy. If you like gnome dick, just let me know.
Earlier I was saying, how women need to be able to communicate with men better. And no, women, you're actually right. You're
Mike's communicating. He's telling him what he
you're
is.
Actually right, women. You're right. I take everything back. I was trying to extend an olive branch. Just keep inventing better dildos and start cutting men out. And
now you can get some gnome dick. Look at that.
Get some gnome dick.
Yeah.
I'll bring you a lot of good luck, like a lucky charm. It'll help you out. I'll make you feel good about yourself.
All right. So listen, I think we can ready to close it out. I would like to go around, do a round robin. What do you think James is doing right now, Jeff?
I think he's passed out, slobbering on himself. Probably peed his pants a little bit. Not a lot, just kind of tinkled a little bit. Probably slipped out. Maybe a little doo-doo, not little doo-doo out the boo-doo. Probably a little bit of that. And he's probably dreaming that he's still on the show. He probably thinks he's still on the show. He probably dreaming, thinking he's talking to you right now. And he's dropping some incredible knowledge. And he's like, God, that's going, what the fuck? This white dude is breaking it down. Oh my God. and then he's gonna wake up. He's gonna wake up in a puddle of his own urine and go, "Oh fuck, that was a dream."
Mike
I
Monitor, what do you think?
Oh,
What do you think
dude, let me tell you something, man. I've been to rehab 6 motherfucking times. Your boy has a serious fucking drinking problem. I loved him. Like, it makes the show because our show isn't like anybody else's because people try to do this shit. We just had a drunk fucking guest that passed out on our fucking show. How great is that shit? Most people would be like, oh, the show's over. Oh, no, the show has just begun. We're going to have more people like this. Because the thing about Rod, what I love about Rod's friends are so fucked up. I love every fucking person he's picked so far. We've had a person with cerebral palsy who I loved, who was a freak. Then we had Ryan, who selling dick pics on fucking live, fantastic. And then we have this fucking dude who just meant well, but the alcohol whipped his ass, and now he's unconscious. Hopefully he's not in the shower where he banged his head and drowned. That would be shitty, because I like James. I don't want him to drown in the shower. He's a nice
I would like to point out to James, like, James, as you watch this, just remember you had started this off saying you got a DUI and you ended off with being so drunk you passed out on our show.
Motherfucker got arrested in his own house. That's a serious alcoholic. When they arrest you in your fucking house, you're gonna DUI in your house.
Drunk while zooming.
Yeah. I say he's face down in vomit. Probably slumped over on his kitchen table.
Well, yeah, because his head went forward, so he knocked he knocked the computer back, and his head is probably like this.
And I agree with Jeff. I think he pissed his pants.
I think he did too. Or he might still think he's awake. Like, you know how when motherfuckers get drunk, like we've all been there, we get shit faced, we try to watch porn, but like he might have tried to attempt that shit, but just destroyed his whole fucking computer in the process. Like tipped it over, knocked it on the ground.
He has those dickers out in his hands. He's passed out.
Probably threw up on his own dick.
He had a dream. He had a dream that he was peeing, right? You know how you had a real dream like you peeing, and you actually pee on yourself. You wake up, oh fuck, that's a dream.
So James, just want to let you know we appreciate you coming on our show.
And you may want to look at this and go, you know what? It's time for rehab. This is that incentive moment
James,
right here.
Listen, from one alcoholic to another, I've done rehab 6 times. I think you only need one. You just need one good rehab. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah. I think that tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have left James a video montage saying, please stop drinking alcohol, and we're going to bring you back in 6 months to see if you have a trailer trash girlfriend with 2 children, or if you are sober
and clean. And then again, it'd be, so you think you got problems, saved another life.
We saved another life in an inadvertently way. We helped him. He's not talking about like woke white women, but he's really an alcoholic. So we're helping him with alcoholism.
This may be the most powerful one yet, because we saved a friend's life. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, serious stuff. James, alcohol is not good, and so you think you got problems.
And so you think you got problems.
So you think you got problems. If you want to get on our show, hit me up. Serial Killer Comedy on Instagram, serialkillercomedy.com, at Midget Demon on Twitter, and Mike Muratori on Facebook. You guys want to give a shout out about your stuff?
Absolutely. First of all, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a shout out to my boy Mike Murator. You guys know sometimes I want to smack the shit out that motherfucker. You know, she just reach this motherfucking camera and be like, nigga, say something, say something, say something. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? I hold myself back and shit. I hold myself back. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? I got to be like you, that grandmaster type nigga and shit, just holding out and shit. You know what I'm saying? But y'all can find me on Twitter at Ron Bush Comedy. Instagram at ron.bush1. All right. Giving a shout out to my boys over there. Do you think you have a problem?
Yeah, now you can find me at My Mom's White on Instagram and Twitter, and just Jeff Keller on Facebook. And I want to say thank you, Chad Bozeman, for your talent and for sharing it with everybody.
Wakanda
And
forever.
and you're gonna be missed, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of So You Think You Got Problems.
So you think you got problems?
So you think you got problems?
So You Think You Got Problems.
So you think you got
We know
problems?
who
Come
got
to no
problems.
land. Come
We
to
know
no
who got
land.
problems.
Come to no land if you think you got
We
problems.
know who got
Come to no
problems.
land.
Yeah, so you think you got problems now, nigga.
We know who got problems. He passed out.
He passed out. James got problems. Our new friend, hammered as fuck.
30 minutes from now, cocaine, hooker.
Or Rod might go over there and climb into his.
Drunk Texan. Get you every time.
I'm out.